Good afternoon, adventurers. I'm Megan.
And I'm Kristina.
And we're with Blue Mermaid Travel. And we're here today to talk to you about Disney Cruise Line. And it's not something that we've talked about a whole lot because none of us were super familiar with it. And, you know, part of our goal is to make sure that we can provide you the best Disney and Universal experiences we possibly can. And we can't do that if we've never been there. But now we have our very own sort of unofficial Disney cruise expert, Miss Kristina, who just got back from her second Disney cruise. And so we're just going to talk a little bit today about some of the things that, like, you can do all the researching, you can read the blogs, you can, you know, be on top of it as much as you think you can be, but at the end of the day, there's still things that when you get there, you don't know. And so Kristina's here to kind of shed some light on some of those things. So let's get started. So, hello.
Hi.
So this was your second Disney cruise.
Second this year.
Okay, so can you tell us what was your first and what ship were you on? And then what was this one and what ship were you on?
All right, so the first was in April of this year during spring break. We did the Disney Wonder. We chose the Disney Wonder. It's a little smaller. So it holds just a little more than half of what some of the larger ships, which is the Disney Fantasy, the Disney Dream hold. Plus, the Disney Wonder had just had a major renovation in 2016, so that was kind of interesting for us. And we wanted to do something a little smaller to see how we liked it. We just got off, sad to say, because we'd rather be on, but they make you leave. You cannot stay no matter how much you want to. The Disney Fantasy, which is the same size as the Disney Dream, and it's a much larger boat, or ship, excuse me. We refer to it as a boat because we have a 2-year-old. And it was just as fantastic. I think we probably even enjoyed it a little bit more than the Disney Wonder.
More options, more amenities, more
amenities, definitely. This one had miniature golf, had 2 cafes, 2 places to get your espressos, lots of different dining options. There was just a lot more for everyone to do. Definitely larger.
Gotcha. Because you had the aqueduct on this one, didn't you?
We had the aqueduct, which I actually did. It was fantastic. The aqueduct is really cool. For those of you who don't know, it's on the 2 larger ships, and it is the plastic tubing that goes around the top of the cruise, that you are launched from a conveyor belt on an inflatable, and then water continues to shoot you out around the aqueduct. It is super fast. You get water in places that you didn't know water can go, but it is super fast and a lot of fun. It was a blast. My kids probably spent most of the day on the aqueduct.
I'm super jealous. So what were your ports? What ports did you stop at for this cruise?
For this cruise, it was Phillipsburg, which originally was supposed to be Tortola, but unfortunately Tortola is still not up to Disney standards from Hurricane Irma, so they switched it to Phillipsburg, St. Thomas, and then of course Disney's private island Castaway Cay. Okay, which is fabulous.
And you did Castaway Cay on your last one as well.
Yes. The last one was just a 3-day cruise, and it only stopped at Castaway Cay. For those of you that are looking for that perfect beach setting where it's beautiful blue, those aqua teal waters with the white sand and the beautiful umbrellas, and it's just picture perfect, Castaway Cay is definitely where you want to go.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about, I know it's a big thing on the ship, when your food is all included.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. Your food is included, your drinks are included, but not alcoholic drinks.
Not alcoholic drinks.
Not coffee.
Not espresso. Well, okay. Coffee, regular drip coffee, at your meals and stuff is, of course. But if you are like me and you want an iced mocha every day, or you get quite moody, yeah, you're going to have to pay for those.
So specialty coffee drinks.
Specialty coffee drinks, okay. Yes.
So, yes. And are there drink packages you can pay for in advance?
Absolutely. Okay. There are drink packages that even come through on the first day that you're there. So if you're like us and you don't really drink alcohol, but you have children on board and you want like water bottles and what have you, they'll have drink packages, and they will come around to you on the first day and offer those to you, as well as they will have those kind of set up at all of the places where you can buy alcohol.
Gotcha. So I know on the cruises they practice rotational dining.
Yes, they do.
Tell us a little bit about what that is.
Okay, so each Disney Cruise Line has several different restaurants. Each one has its own theme, okay? So for Disney Fantasy, it was Animator's Palette. You have probably heard when you walk in, it's with all the drawings of all the animated movies. They're in black and white, and they come to life, and it is absolutely incredible. It's indescribable. The next one was Royal Court, which is pretty much like a princess theme, and they even have like princess tea in the afternoon that you can sign up for. And then the other one is Enchanted Garden, which is kind of like a French Versailles kind of absolutely beautiful with water fountain in the middle. So your key to the world will show you the first day restaurant, which one you go to, and your time, because there's 2 different times you can go, 5:45 and 8. And you can basically, you'll go to that, show up at that restaurant, they'll show you what table, because that's also on your key of the world. So you'll go to that table, and then the next night you go to a completely different restaurant. So if the first one was Animator's Palette, maybe the second one is the Enchanted Room, and maybe then the third would be Royal Court, and then you start all over again at Animator's Palette, depending on the length of your cruise.
And now your server follows you, right?
Your server follows you, which is absolutely fantastic for those of you that suffer from food allergies. I say suffer because it's a big pain in the butt. But it's absolutely fantastic because they get to know your family, and their memory is like absolutely amazing. Because if you came in the first time and I didn't know you, the second night I'd be like, I'm sorry, who are you and what do you want? I'd have to ask you all over. But they come to you and they already know, like, are you Miss Kristina? Do you have the gluten allergies, correct? And which one of you are, my son? And immediately they knew from the notes that we had put that we had gluten allergies, and they had already made note. Now, the menu does take note of what allergies, what you can eat if you're gluten or dairy free, or if you're vegan. But the next night, they will give you a menu to what your tomorrow's menu is going to be, so that you can order ahead of time, and then they will prepare it in a safe area for you.
Oh,
so
nice.
If you have gluten allergies, which you can get sick from cross-contamination, that's an amazing opportunity that you can have, that you will be assured that your food is safe.
Now, I was actually going to ask, because Disney World especially is fabulous about food allergies.
Fantastic.
Very super accommodating, regardless of what your food allergy may be, or even if you're just vegan or kosher or whatever. How did you find Disney Cruises' accommodation of your allergies to be in terms of food selection?
The food selection was pretty awesome. It's not as amazing as Disney World, which of course, they're on land, so they definitely have access to a lot more opportunities. But definitely each night there were probably like 4 to 5 items from the entrees that we can choose, as well as an appetizer, a salad. There were a couple of nights actually where there was not a dessert available that was gluten-free, but then he was like, don't worry about it, the chef will make you something.
Oh.
And they did. They presented us with this like orange cake. It wasn't chocolate, so it wasn't like my thing, but my son was like, it was the best thing I had all week long.
Wow.
And I mean, it was just something that wasn't on the menu, but they had prepared it the day before for us. So
Nice.
it was
Nice.
pretty amazing.
That's nice. Okay, so I asked you what port you visited. So walk us through arriving at the port and getting onto the ship and then getting off of the ship. Because they're not, like you would think, oh, I get on this way and I get off in reverse, right? But it's not exactly the same. So you left from Port Canaveral.
I did, and Disney has several different ports that you can leave from. But we go to Port Canaveral because for us, we go to Orlando and do Disney World, and then we go on the cruise. Anytime I can slip in a trip to the parks, I'm going to just like sneak it in there. Like my husband doesn't even need to know until we arrive. But Port Canaveral is like an hour drive. Disney World does have like a shuttle that will take you for a fee. But we usually drive down because we're such a large family. 4 kids, four kids. So we usually drive down. So we'll drive over to the port, and it's about like 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on construction. Basically, kind of like pull in, and I would suggest about an hour before arrival time. And you'll schedule that as you go through. When you actually book the trip, and you get about between 70 to 90 days, you'll want to do your check-in online, and there's a process. So if you have a travel agent, they can help walk you through that, because it is kind of
a process.
It's a process.
Like, I had until you started telling me about it, I had no idea how involved, and I've never cruised before, ever. All of my trips have been, land and air kind of only. So when you were like, we have to check in, and I'm like, you're still like 2 months away.
Yeah, it's a lot of paperwork, because you have to give permission on who can walk off with your children off the boat, who can have charging privileges. I mean, it's quite an ordeal, because they don't do any of that really while you're on board. They want to do that before.
So it needs to be handled in advance.
And one of those things is you're going to choose your arrival time. We like to choose the earliest available, which I recommend that you actually do the paperwork and the pre-check-in before, because those early arrival times are pretty typically taken pretty quickly.
Well, everybody wants to get on,
you want to get
to their room, start playing, hanging out at the pool.
Because that's the thing. Once you get on the boat, the first thing they do is they direct you to go have lunch, because typically arrival time begins between 10:30 to 11:30, and so everybody kind of wants to go to lunch. And though you don't have your room until 1:30, which is still pretty early, a lot of people will board in their swimwear and stuff, and they immediately go to the pool, because it's typically pretty dead at this time, and go to the aqua deck. So basically you want to choose that. So I recommend, because it is a little bit of a process, to go ahead and get there like an hour before. You're going to have to go through kind of port security. So basically you're going to have to go figure out where you're going to park the car. You're going to drop your bags. You're going to pull up to the curb, drop your bags. A porter will take your bags and make sure that they get onto the ship. So at that point, whatever you want with you, like medicines, your identification, any of that kind of stuff, you want to keep with you
in like a carry-on.
On a carry-on, because you won't see that stuff until about 1:30. You'll have your room until 1:30. Bags do not arrive until 3 to 4 to your room. So I'm sorry, I misspoke. So you really kind of want that kind of stuff with you. And then you'll go park, unless you're on the bus and you'll just be dropped off. And then you go through security. So it's a little bit kind of like airport security. You put your carry-on bags through a conveyor, and you step through the screening process. Once you go on upstairs, it's like this huge airport terminal. It's pretty whoa. It's pretty overwhelming for the first time. And there's all these different lines for concierge, for first timers. If you're in the Castaway Club member, which means you have sailed previously with Disney, you automatically are enrolled. But if you're the first time, you just go up. They're going to want your identification, whichever you've chosen, whether it be passports, or for children 16 under, they can have birth certificates, what have you. Also, there's
Does
forms.
that need to be a actual an actual birth certificate, or can you make a copy?
No, you do not want to have a copy.
Okay, so an actual registered copy from the state in which they were born, birth certificate.
Yes, and I urge you to check which port you're sailing from and which stops you're going to, because it could be that they need an actual passport.
Okay, so depending on where you're, because Disney doesn't, we all think of Disney cruise and we think of the Caribbean and Mexico and stuff like that, but Disney does cruises also to Europe. They do cruises to Alaska. They do, so it's not just Caribbean ports of call. So Mexico. We're looking at other countries, specifically when you're looking at Canada, when you're talking about taking a cruise over to Europe, then that's when we start getting into the nitty gritty of what do your children need to have. Obviously, adults, you need to have a passport, but children, there's sometimes some special exceptions, and we're not going to let you leave with the wrong identification for your kids, no.
So
I'm pretty sure that there is a dinosaur like
eating somebody.
Eating children in your
the
other room.
There's definitely they're watching Jurassic Park. So a dinosaur just was just fed. So basically, you walk through. You're going to have to print some forms that they're going to have that is actually kind of hidden too. You have to kind of like scroll through and look for them. But there are forms that you need, forms of ID that you need. Once you check out, they'll give you actually a card with a number, a boarding number. And they will announce that. There's TVs everywhere with a number, and they'll announce it. Now boarding group 7. If you're 1 through 7, you can now board now. I cannot stress, please do not stand in line waiting right where the entrance for to embark on the ship, because there's huge crowds that do that, and it's such a pet peeve for a lot of cruisers because we don't know who's in line to go through. So you have to kind of weave your way, especially with children. I mean, I'm towing 4 children behind me. And there's, huge crowds. And I didn't get it when people were like, it's such a pet peeve, please don't do that to me. I'm like, what are they talking about? I get it now. I get it. There's lots of seats. I mean, it's just like an airport terminal.
You're not going to board any faster by standing there.
No, you're not. Just kind of move away. And that's the thing. Disney's really, really quick. I mean, I remember years ago when Greg and I did our first cruise, it took us like almost a whole day to get on the ship. It takes like 45 minutes or less. I mean, Disney is like, we are getting you on this ship. They have a process, and they are quick about it.
Well, I was gonna ask, like from your scheduled arrival time to the time, or your boarding time, to the time you actually walked onto the ship, how long do you think it took?
Going through security and getting our bags off probably took the most time. I would say between half an hour to 45 minutes.
That's not terrible. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty quick.
Yeah.
And considering the number of people that Disney is trying to get onto that ship and their luggage and through security and stuff like that.
because the Disney Fantasy holds, I think, almost like 4,000 people. So it's a lot of people. And I mean, honestly, my husband's like, oh, we don't need to be there so early. We don't need to be so early. But I mean, you really do, because they really move you quickly onto that ship. I mean, it is all aboard at 4, and they are pulling out.
And you will be left behind.
Yes, you will be left behind. And we like to get on early. So, I pick like 11:15, whatever I can get on, because my kids want to be on the boat. So we get there probably about 10:15, and we're definitely on the boat by 11. Like, we are on the boat. And then the cool thing is like, as you cross over, they will ask you your name, and you want to stay with the crew together, and they will announce to the entire ship, the Bocchino family has arrived, please welcome them.
Oh, that's cool.
They have all of the officers standing up, clapping and applauding while you come on. It's so cool. So video it if you can.
So that would totally like get me, because like I am that person that when you ride Small World at Disney and you get to the end and there's that screen and it says like, it lists your names and it's like, have a great day or something like that. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Well, it's even more amazing because you come on, level 3, like midship, which is like where like kind of like the main entrance with a beautiful chandelier. And Disney has a very, my husband and I were just discussing that, other than some other lines where it's almost like a Vegas kind of ship, where it feels very much like, they've kind of modeled the ship after like a Vegas hotel. Disney has a very kind of retro 1940s cruise ship kind of feel.
Okay, yeah.
And there's a little sparkle with like the chandeliers here and there, but it very much feels, there's old photographs of Walt and his family.
Oh, that's cool.
On this one, they had photographs that came to life, actually. And
wow.
Like, you could see Walt was sitting there drawing a portrait, and if you went to go stand in front of it, it would actually start to animate the picture that he was drawing.
That's crazy.
As well as there were some games, so there were some other portraits, throughout that would actually come to life in front of you. Like there was a Dumbo, like the original Dumbo poster for his advertisement. Dumbo would come to life and fly away.
Wow,
so it was really cool.
So, okay, what about disembarking from the ship? Because, there's disembarking when you reach a port and you want to go, like, at Castaway Cay, and then there's disembarking to
go
leave.
home, which is like the saddest day ever. I'm not gonna lie.
We always say we're riding the sad bus.
We are riding the sad bus. Well, we rode it all the way home. Okay, so it's fairly easy as well. You can do it two ways. Disney has where they'll give you luggage tags, and the night before you can put all of your luggage out on the hallway, and some cast members come and take it, and you'll see it at the port the next morning. If you want express checkout, you keep your luggage with you, and you literally walk it out the next morning.
Which is fine if you have like one bag.
Which we typically do because we want to always get on the road. Mm-hmm. Like this time we were like, let's go hit Epcot for another day. So that's exactly what we did. So instead of trying to find our luggage and everything, we just walked it off and loaded up in the car, paid for parking, and left. I mean, it's pretty simple.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, you do have to go through customs.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Coming back into the country.
But it was super easy. I mean, unless you have something to declare, I mean, it was like super easy.
Right.
And sadly, I can't drink, so we don't buy alcohol or anything. So we bought some T-shirts.
Those dangerous Disney T-shirts.
So, we didn't have anything to declare. So it was just basically, here's our passports. Did you have a good time? It was awesome, and then you leave. So it's pretty fast. It was probably like, I think the hardest part was getting my daughter, who's 2, to carry her own little luggage through, the airport, the cruise terminal. That was
she wanted you to carry it.
No, she wanted to carry it herself. That's why it took so long.
That's funny.
It took so long.
My luggage.
Yeah, don't touch, Mom. Don't touch.
So what is the process when you reach a port? Just like,
So super easy. Okay, so one of the things that Disney Cruise has is that you don't have magic bands like you do at Disney World. You have the Key to the World card, and I really urge that you buy a lanyard. And you really want to wear it day one, like even before, once you get out of your car, your bus, you need to be wearing it because they'll give it to you as soon as you go to the terminal and check in.
So I'm assuming you're talking like a lanyard with like the little plastic sleeve.
Yes, like with a plastic sleeve. You're going to wear that throughout the entire cruise. Otherwise, you are going to be taking out your wallet a lot. Even to get on and off the ship, you have to show that card. And that's basically what happens is that when you have, come to the port and you want to disembark, they have what's set up is that you go to the first floor, and they'll tell you they're very good, and there's signs everywhere, and they'll tell you where, and especially like Castaway Cay, which is like super easy. You go down to the first floor, they'll hand you towels if you want to go to the beach, even when it's not Castaway Cay.
I don't need to pack towels.
No, even at Phillipsburg and St. Thomas, it was like, hey, you're going to the beach, do you need a towel? And they would hand you a towel.
Nice.
So basically you have that Key to the World, and they have like a little, it's almost like a little square, and you just hold it up to that square and it scans it. When you first arrive, they take pictures of you, and the picture shows up on their screen that you are who you are, and you walk off the gameplay. When you come back, same thing, you have to show. Now, if you're going to out of country, you may have to show ID for that country. Not Disney so much, but actually like Phillipsburg had like an officer like standing under, I literally just had to show my ID, and he was okay. It wasn't anything like serious,
right?
Like they're gonna frisk me or anything. It was just literally, this is who I am, and yes, I am cruising with Disney.
Right.
Disney, same thing. You show that little key, it beeps at you. You put your stuff through the conveyor belt for security, and you're on.
Nice.
It's very easy.
Good. Because I need easy.
Yes, yes.
So when you visit Walt Disney World, obviously they have the
Magic bands?
No, not magic bands. The app, My Disney Experience app. Okay.
My Disney Experience
So there's
app.
something very similar for the Disney Cruise Line, the Navigator app.
It's called the Navigator app.
Okay, tell us a little bit what all features are in the Navigator
First of all, you
app.
want to download that before you leave, because obviously, unless you're paying for it, you're not going to have Wi-Fi.
I hadn't thought about that.
Mm-hmm. And Wi-Fi can be kind of pricey on, and if you are my husband who working all the time, you're eating through that Wi-Fi pretty quickly. So I always suggest, download that Navigator app from home, really, even before you've even left. Now, it will not operate until you're on the ship. So I mean, you can
But it
set
does
up.
have like a little countdown.
It does have a
functionality.
countdown that you can set up, which is really cute and gets you excited for you. But other than that, it won't operate.
I wish that my Disney Experience app had the countdown.
Right?
Frankly,
I know, right? I'm trying to set up a third one. But once you're on board, you can use the Navigator to text people in your party, or you can even, if you meet a friend, you can add them.
Oh, nice.
And so you guys can chat, and it's really cute because they have all these Disney and princess emojis, and it's so cute. Baymax. I mean, it was they have like everybody. It was so super cute, and you can even like Minnie and Daisy make kissy faces with little heart eyes and everything. It's so cute. And then it also shows you your daily itinerary for the cruise. So
nice.
What characters are where you can meet them, what shows are going on. And oh my goodness, the shows are amazing. Your dining. So if you can't remember and you left your key to the world, but you have your phone, check where you are for dining, and it will give you the menu even.
Nice.
So often, we would sit and I would have already ordered, and I'd be looking for the menu tomorrow because I knew he was going to bring over the menu, and I wanted to be able to order for the next night.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's pretty golden for you to have that.
Would you say that the Navigator app is probably less glitchy than the My Disney Experience app?
Oh, I would say definitely. Yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's just
Yeah.
such a bulky app. I mean, it's great in some ways. In some ways, there's so many glitches.
Now, I will say this. On the Wonder, we could text each other without the app being up, and it would kind of notify us. On the Fantasy, for some reason, it would tell us that each other was offline unless we actually had the app open and we're staring at it. So it's almost like you have to be staring and waiting for a text.
Oh, that's kind of...
For
Or
it
you just
to-
kind of get surprised when you open it up and there's like 10 texts waiting
Yeah,
for it.
exactly. That's exactly.
Nice.
So I don't know if that was a fluke or if that's... I don't know.
Interesting. But good to know.
Yes.
If you don't think it's working for some reason,
Yes.
open it up and see what's going on. Okay. So I've read in some places, and there seems to be kind of this debate about, do you need cash?
Okay.
So
I did a lot of research before I went on my first cruise, and everyone was like, take money, take cash, because you need to tip people, especially room service. So I'm not gonna lie, we took a lot of cash, and came home with all of it. Especially because the first time we just went to Castaway Cay.
right.
The second time we went to other ports, so we did use, although almost everyone seemed to take card as well. I mean, this is 2018. So I mean, even in St. Thomas, they were taking credit card. But that being said, your key to the world is your charge, really. No one takes cash on the boat or even Castaway Cay. Even when you go to buy popcorn for your movie, there is a 15% charge for tip.
Oh, so
And
they're automatically adding tip
automatically adding. So whether it's room service, buying a popcorn, a can of soda, I mean, everything. Coffee, espresso, it was all bundled in.
Right.
Now you have the option to add on tip, which I'm not going to lie. When you give me a good espresso, I'm giving you an extra tip. Good job, Flavio. Good job, because every single time I had you got an extra tip from me. Excellent coffee maker. Excellent barista, I should say. But, that being said, it's already bundled in there and no one can take cash. So, I mean, I've been on the Disney Wonder and the Disney Fantasy both times this year. And I mean, we actually asked, like, oh, can I use cash? I've got cash. I need to get rid of it. They're like, it has to be key of the world. Like, they have no way of taking it.
So basically what you're doing is you're just charging everything to your room, and then at the end you settle up.
Now you can go to guest services. They have guest services just like they do in Disney World, and you can pay them with cash, but they have to have a credit card on file to be charging this to, typically.
Okay.
So, I mean, but if you're like, I don't want to pay on my credit card, I want to pay with cash, you can go down there and pay with cash if you want, or even like the Disney gift card.
Gotcha. Oh, so we can use Disney gift cards there
Yes,
too.
but you have to go to
Doesn't
guest
surprise me.
services. You can't like load it up on your card.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I would say, depending on the ports that you stop at, then we may need to talk about having cash on hand. And I'm not thinking necessarily for the Caribbean stops so much, but I am thinking if you go to Canada, you go to Alaska, you have ports that stop in Europe, like and granted,
Yes.
almost every single, like, probably every place in Europe is taking cards. Probably most places in Canada are as well. But if you're talking about tipping and stuff like that off the ship, then we may need to start talking about, you know, having some foreign currency on hand.
Depending on your ports of call, absolutely.
Right. So, you know, that's something that we need to discuss with you before you leave. Realistically, what kinds of currency do you need to have in your possession before you leave?
I think someone else is getting eaten.
I think so too. It's a very hungry dinosaur.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know, I mean, we think Disney Cruise Lines and we think family, but they've got a whole lot of adult-only options. There's some adult-only dining. There's some nightclubs.
There are a lot of adults-only traveling. So I was talking to another couple who actually had 4 children as well, all girls, so a little different, but they had been married for 20 years, just like we're coming up on next year, and they were like, well, we're really thinking about doing a cruise by ourselves, and they're like, but we were thinking, would it be weird? I'm like, you know, if you've noticed, there's a lot of adult-only cruisers on the ship, and I think it's because Disney hold itself to such a high standard. I mean, the service alone, I mean, you feel like royalty. I mean, they like jump to wait on you. You don't have to go and ask anybody. I mean, they are, Madam, let me do that for you, Madam. I mean, constantly, even at the buffet, like, Madam, what do you need something? Can I help you? Can I?
You're like, I just want my potatoes.
I know, right? Like coming over, like, I mean, I often had the 2-year-old on my hip and was carrying 2 plates, and they would come running over, grabbing both plates from me. Oh, let me take that for you. Let me follow you. Do you have a table? Do you need a table? I mean, it was amazing, and I think that's why people love Disney so much, is because they do hold themselves to such a high standard that you'll never walk off and be like, well, that didn't go so well. You know, so
that was a really bad trip.
There was a bad trip, and it just won't happen. It's just fantastic. And so, yes, there are a lot of adult-only areas. There are adult-only section with pools and spas that are, you have to be 18 and up. The spa, they have a spa that's for 18 and up, and it's fantastic. It even has what's called like a rainforest experience with these multiple aromatherapy and temperature. It changes temperature, so you go from like hot to, or cold to hot. Showers and saunas with a sauna, a hot tub, and heated loungers. And I got that for my husband for Father's Day, and he was like, it was amazing. Like, he went every day. He was like, it was amazing. But they have the spa, the gym. They have this amazing gym that's for 18, but they also have 2 restaurants, Palo and Remy. They're 18 and up. There's a little bit of a surcharge for those, but the dining is supposed to be absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I mean, so if you're looking to cruise, even if you have children and you're looking for an adult only experience, I mean, definitely Disney is the way to go.
Sorry, my husband is calling and asking about going and seeing The Incredibles 2, which we have not seen yet.
We saw it on the ship. It was we saw it twice on the ship. It was fantastic. That's something else they'll do, is they'll run, they have a movie theater, and they have current in theater Disney movies.
Clearly The Incredibles 2.
Incredibles 2. So we waited because Incredibles 2 came out on Friday, and we sailed Saturday. So we have just been in the theater for like less than 24 hours,
yeah.
And we watched it on the ship.
That's cool. They also have like stage shows.
Oh my gosh, the stage shows are, I've seen Broadway shows in Seattle and New York City, and these are Broadway caliber. They are, a lot of them have been produced and directed by Broadway producers and directors. They are absolutely amazing. We've seen Frozen, Aladdin, Disney's Dream, Disney's Magic, Disney's Believe. They were absolutely amazing. Even my kids, like, my husband, we walked out and we're like, wow, that was awesome. That was great.
I've seen live streams of some of the shows that they put on, that like they'll live stream it from the ship, and like, I'm just, it's amazing. And I mean, I'm always,
you're not allowed to record them. We saw someone doing that. Don't do that.
They are. You're
yes,
not.
Right.
But I mean, and I'm a sucker for a good stage show, quite honestly. And even in the Disney parks, like some of my favorite things are the shows that they put on. And I mean, when we first started going to Disney, I was like, what? We're going to Disney. We're not going to go see shows. Like, that's stupid. Yeah. But the shows, if the shows at the parks are any kind of indication of what you're going to see on the ship,
I think they're better.
You will never be disappointed.
I honestly think they're better. And I really, if you were in the Disney World show, I'm so sorry. I really think they're better. I mean, if you are a fan of Broadway plays, they're amazing. I mean, they're absolutely. I mean, even with Aladdin, we were like, or Frozen. The scene where they're cutting ice and Sven and Kristoff are tiny and they're cutting ice and all the men are singing. I'm like, how do they gotta do that? Because you can hear the music playing. Sure enough, they do, and it's breathtaking.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
So I know that they have a lot. I mean, obviously they have the adult-only options, and there must be adults who have children on the ship who are partaking of some of these options. So what are they doing with their kids? Are they like locking them in their stateroom?
So that's a fantastic point. If you are cruising with Disney and you have children, and you are bringing them with you, because let's be honest, we don't always travel with our children. Disney has fabulous options. They have the Disney nursery for the little ones, and then for your 3 to 12, they have the Disney's Oceaneer Club, and then they have, and I'm sorry if I'm getting mixed up, I believe it's the Edge for the tweens, and then the Vibe for the teenagers up until the age of 18. They have magic bands for these, for like if you're a 4-year-old, you just put a magic band on them, you check them in. There are cast members there that are working just with the children, and they kind of do crafts and activities, as well as there's a lot of stuff that they can go do. There's video games, themes like Star Wars, Tinkerbell, and the Hollow. There's a lot Frozen on the Wonder, which was amazing because the Wandering Oaksman, was in the. You could go knock on it and he would pop up. Woohoo! So I mean, there's a lot of stuff for the kids. They don't have to be in the group. They can kind of wander off and do their own things. But if they're more kind of younger and need more activities, but they were even baking cookies and strudel with the kids as a group. I mean, they're really great.
That's brave. I don't bake anything with my kids.
And for groups too. And then for your tweens and your larger kids, I mean, the teenagers had their own deck. So they had like their own pool, foosball tables. I mean,
there's no reason for you to even ever see your kids.
Pretty. I mean, it's sad, but true. And there's a lot of kids. I mean, because you can even in the Oceaneers Club level, you could even set it up because you do have to set it up. You could even set up so your kid can come and go without you checking them in or checking out. And if you're a little concerned and your child's a little worried, you can even they have in your stateroom, it's almost kind of like a walkie-talkie, so that if your child is like, I want my mom, I don't want to do this, they'll just radio you and be like, little Johnny wants you to come pick him up. And
where did Junior go?
Yeah,
he must be hanging out with the Oceaneers Club.
So I mean, but a lot of the kids, I mean, you could see the magic bands that they wore. They just loved it, and a lot of them were like, Can you drop me off? Like, I want to go. I mean, it was amazing. Not my kids, but a lot of the other kids. We did go through open house, and that's the amazing thing. On the first day, they have open house for everything. The spa, the whole ship is open. The Oceaneers Club, the nursery, so that you can go in, ask questions, have your children check it out, see what you're interested in doing, which is really amazing. So you get a kind of a tour of the ship. You go to the areas that you're interested in, and like, do I want to do this on my cruise?
Yeah. I had a question for you, and I totally forgot what it was. So I think though, we're kind of coming to the end of my questions. Was there anything that the first time you hit the Disney cruise you're like, oh, wish somebody had told me that, or that I had read that, or because you did a lot of research. I remember having these conversations with you, and you were like, well, we can do this and we can do that and blah blah blah, and I'm like, wow, you have really done your research. I would expect no less. But I mean, even as well prepared as you felt like you were, there had to be some things that you're like, oh, didn't know that.
So a few things where one of them is money. You really don't need money on the, because the first time we did bring a lot of, and then you come home and you're like, what am I going to do with this cash? You know, we're kind of like a cashless society.
Right.
This one of the other things is that I wish I had known that about the lanyard, because even when you go on, everything's scanning that card. I mean, it's constantly, and I had kind of had an idea that I would need one, but it was packed in the suitcase. You need it right when you get to the port.
Right.
Like Port Canaveral, you should, in the car, have that
Just put it
around
on.
you. Just put it on. The second thing is that when you are disembarking that last morning, you can't get off the ship unless you have your key to the world. And we had packed ours away thinking, okay, we're done with the cruise, and packed it. And I had to sit and dig. Fortunately, we had everything with us and dig it out.
Wow, I am so glad that you didn't let them take your luggage.
Because
You would have been,
darn,
I'm trapped on the ship.
Yes, right? It's so sad. But anytime you come and go off that ship, you need that key to the world. And then, really the other thing is that, you don't need to worry about bottled water too much. They have beverage stations. Even on Castaway Cay, there's a beverage station. And, they're always like, stay hydrated, stay hydrated, stay hydrated, which is, you're in the Caribbean. It's really good, especially with little ones. There's a beverage station, and we just went with cups and filled up. Not with our personal cups. Don't do that. That's really gross. They ask you to use the paper cups to refill for a reason. That's so gross. Please, I know that's my pet peeve. I was just in Epcot, and there was a woman at Starbucks, and she stuck her bottled water, which of course touched the rim, and I was like, "Oh, I'm done. We're walking away." But it's my pet peeve. It really is. It's because you're spreading your germs, people.
Well, and we've all heard the stories of nasty stomach bugs spreading through cruise ships, especially. So just if all they're asking is take a different cup of water.
Yes, use it. And there's signs everywhere, so people are like blatantly ignoring the signs. Please, please, please use a fresh cup. But you go get a fresh cup and get water. And of course, there's fruit everywhere, like galore. I mean, they have, even on Castaway Cay, there is like a spread of a buffet just of fruit, of cut fruit, and even whole fruit. I mean, pears, apples, oranges, but watermelon, pineapple. I mean, if your kid won't drink water, I mean, hey, slice some watermelon in them. Yeah, I mean, seriously. But it'd stay hydrated. But yeah, I was really concerned about, like, I literally packed water bottles, because it's like $39 for like a 24 pack of water. And I was like, oh heck no. So that's a little,
I can get that for $12 here in Beaufort, Georgia.
Yes, right. So $12. $2.98, people. But no, so
I'm buying the expensive water.
So I was like shoving it in suitcases and like rolling up for, to do that. And you don't need it. There's waters, beverage dispensers, pretty much everywhere. And they're like all over. And people are like, oh, but you have to go up to like the 11th deck. I'm like,
oh no,
I'll take an elevator.
Not the elevator.
It's cool, And of course, there's room service. I mean, it's a cruise.
That's true. So you can get virtually anything.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, on the first cruise, there wasn't a whole lot of chocolate that was gluten free, and I was really craving chocolate covered strawberries. And I called room service, and I'm like, I so need chocolate strawberries. Can you hook me up? And they're like, well, we can make you some, and they're going to be an extra charge. And I was like, girlfriend, hook me up.
Send me the strawberries.
Send me a dozen. I'm so glad I did, because I jumped in the shower and I came out. There were like 2 strawberries left. My kids had like helped themselves. So
they scarf those puppies down. Wow.
So yeah, I mean, when you have kids, nothing's sacred.
True.
But yeah, you can almost get pretty much anything on board. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's free. I mean, there's games, family games. I mean, there's
never a shortage of things to do.
Never, ever. And one of our favorite things to do is I recommend, if you can, to get a room with a veranda. And I can't tell you how many times we just went out and sat on the veranda and just watched the ocean go by.
Well, and I think it's important that you all realize Kristina has 4 kids, as she's mentioned. How old is Lucas? He's your oldest.
13.
And then you've got Liam and Logan, who are 7 and 10. And Liam's almost 8, really.
Right.
And then Lily is 2.
2.
So
we're still nap time.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's literally experiencing the whole range of ages from toddler all the way up to preteen, or, tween, with her kids. And they loved it.
They all loved it.
All loved it. Nobody had any complaints.
We got off the cruise. Actually, even the day before, I should really say. My kids were, when's the next one? When are we coming back?
Have you booked our next cruise yet?
When are we coming back? Can we come back this year? And my husband's like, well, we've already done 2 this year. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Disney
You've done
cruises,
2 in like 3 months.
3 months, yes. Because we did the first one, and Greg was like, book this one for this summer. Like, we got to go again.
That's high praise from Greg.
And that's not very high.
That is not at all like typical response from Greg.
My husband is the very typical, like, how would you say? He likes to work. I mean, I have pictures of us being in the parks with him working on his laptop. Yes, we carry a laptop around Universal and Disney World. I have pictures. I have proof. I showed
documented proof.
Right. And so he really likes to. I mean, he's a workaholic. That's the word I'm looking for. He's a workaholic, and he enjoys working. And it was hard for him to be so, and I'm not going to lie, we did have like 3 or 4 days of a 7-day cruise with Wi-Fi, so he could answer emails. But other than that, I mean, he loves it. I mean, he absolutely loves it.
And that's big, because your first experience with a cruise was not great. This is back when you all first got married.
Yes. I won't say what cruise line we went to. It was certainly not Disney, because Disney was not, actually, Disney, it was pre-Disney cruise. So we went with another, and we actually didn't like it. And in fact, several years ago, I was like, we're not cruise people. It was our own one and only cruise, and we hated it. We are not drinkers. I can't drink, unfortunately, because of medical reasons, and Greg just drinks like maybe a glass of wine here, and it's very rare. So we're not drinkers, we're not gamblers, we're not partiers. I mean, we're very much workaholics and family. And I'm not saying, if that's your vibe, that's awesome. But some of those cruises are not really kind of aiming towards.
Well, if you can't gamble and you can't drink,
right,
or you don't gamble and you can't drink,
I don't sit by the pool,
then some cruise lines just don't have the activities designed to keep you occupied in any other way.
I think, and this kind of tells you, this kind of dates me. We watched Austin Powers in our room for like 15 times. I'm not going to even lie. If I see Austin Powers again, it's like, oh Lord. But Gregory sang the theme song from Austin Powers the entire week. I almost shot him.
Oh my gosh.
We almost didn't make it our first 2 weeks of marriage. But the thing is with Disney is that if you are a drinker, they have something for you, If you want to be without your children, they have something for you. If you want to do things as a family, they have something for you. Really, the only thing they don't have is if you're a gambler. But they do have bingo, but, not on the same caliber.
Well, there's no slot machines, there's no craps tables, there's none of that. But, I mean...
But, hey, bingo had a $5,000 jackpot. I mean,
that's pretty good for bingo.
That's pretty good. It coincided with nap time,
that
so
would basically pay for your cruise.
Well,
almost. Your cruise.
Almost.
Not your
one
cruise.
Room.
My cruise.
Yeah.
It was.
So, but I mean, it was fantastic, and that's the thing about Disney is there is something for you. Like, no matter what type of person you are, if you enjoy sitting in your room on the balcony reading a book, there's a place for you. If you enjoy drinking by the poolside, there's a place for you. I mean, Disney, they really do have a place for you on the ship no matter what. But the service, like, I cannot explain. I mean, where can you go and find a place that cleans your room twice and, like, even leaves turned down chocolates? I mean, usually you have to pay big time money for that.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, because he comes in the morning and they clean. I mean, by the time we came back for breakfast, our room was all cleaned. And I mean, he cleaned up the kids' stuff. I mean,
God bless.
They clean. And then they come in the afternoon when you're when you're at dinner, and he does a turn down service, and he cleans again. He empties the trash. He remakes the beds and turns it down, leaves chocolate and leaves the little animals on the, it sets up the sofa as a bed for your kids, and
nice.
Like lined up all the shoes. I mean, it was like,
it was intense. It was intense.
It is, yes.
I know what I was going to ask you about. So there is a Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique on every single Disney cruise ship. Yes,
there is. I'm not going to tell you. Lily does not qualify for Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique. You have to be 3, but she has just found princess dresses this last Disney World trip, and I'm not going to lie. We may have a couple of dresses or a few, because she, honestly, especially Belle, she saw Belle and she was, Mama. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, well,
we know who that is.
So we did kind of walk into, and you don't have to have an appointment. You can walk in, and it was gorgeous. They have all the princess dresses, and it's interesting because of a very kind of the ones that you see in the parks, and then they have a very formal version of each princess as well. But we're not there yet, but yeah, they're beautiful. I cannot wait.
Well, and I was thinking, especially, getting into the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique in the parks. I mean, there's 2 now. There's one in Magic Kingdom, but there's also one in Disney Springs. But they are packed all the time. So if you go on a cruise and having that experience for your child is important to you, then that's kind of an easy way to get to experience Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique. And I'm sure you probably saw little girls that had obviously been to the boutique all over the ship.
Absolutely. And I just want to point out, because you see it all the time too. If you frequent the parks, when the little girl has been, because they have the pixie dust in the hair, and their hair is done up in a certain way. Little buns. Here's the thing. Most of the time, depending on what time of the year you're going, and I would say it's a majority, 90% of the year, these little girls look hot as can be. I mean, their cheeks are really pink, and they're sweating because those dresses really, they don't breathe. Well. They don't breathe well. I mean, and you can't bless their hearts. They all want it. But if you're doing the park or the cruise, okay, I recommend doing it on the cruise because it's all air conditioned. It's all really nice, perfect temperatures. And we dressed Lily in her princess dresses, and she was really comfortable.
In all the pictures I saw, she didn't look unhappy in any of them. She didn't look uncomfortable.
No, the Belle dress, she did not want to take it off.
Sleeping in the Belle dress.
We had to and she actually got a little chocolate on her Belle dress, and she freaked out. I was like, oh, I can fix it.
We'll clean it.
So it was great though. But you can even, if I understand, for the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique, if you don't want to spend the money on the dresses, you can bring your own dress, and they'll still do your little girl's hair and such.
Yeah. And I've heard, and maybe this is true or not, even if you don't want to go in and do the full on, get the hair done and stuff, you can still go in and just ask for the pixie dust.
Yes, I did. I just saw that at Magic Kingdom where one of the little girls were getting. It's really cute. They take a little wand over and they say, there's a little faith, trust, and pixie dust, and they sprinkle, and it's the little pixie, it's glitter. So all over their hair, and the little girls just love it. It's precious. We have 6 months. We're counting down. 6 months.
All right. Well, we have been talking about Disney Cruise Line for almost an hour now, and if you have stuck with us, we need to send you a prize.
I could go on for longer.
We really could just talk for hours, but we're not. We're going to stop right here. But if you are now interested in booking your own Disney cruise or your own visit to Walt Disney World or Universal Studios Florida, message us. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Blue Mermaid Vacations, and you can send us a message, or you can email us at info@bluemermaidtravel.com, and we will get started working on your next magical vacation. Otherwise, everybody have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next time. And remember, adventure is out there. Bye.